And we turn now to the Middle East. A live look at the Israel-Gaza border after Israel launched new airstrikes, killing at least 15 people. And it comes amid reports that Hamas leaders are prepared to begin talks on a 60-day ceasefire proposal. President Trump telling reporters he thinks a peace deal could be finalized as soon as this upcoming week. NewsNation's Robert Sherman live from Tel Aviv. So, Robert, where do negotiations stand right now?
Yeah, Kelly, well, in the latest chapter of these negotiations here, another turn with the Prime Minister's office coming out and saying that the latest additions and requests that Hamas has made when it has come to the framework that's been put on the table are, quote unquote, unacceptable to the Israelis. Nevertheless, they are sending a negotiating team to Qatar in order to pick the talks back up here. But this goes to show this distinction that always needs to be made between a framework and a deal. And while the framework is something that Hamas had agreed to, the broad strokes look at what this deal could look like. It's not a formalized deal yet because we anticipated there were going to be some negotiations about the finite details and the logistical implementation of how a new ceasefire could look. And that appears to be where this latest snag has taken hold here. But nevertheless, these conversations are going to continue on. There is a lot of pressure that is on the ground here, Kelly, palpable pressure that we have seen mounting in recent days here. And all of this is coming as the Prime Minister prepares to make that journey to Washington, where he'll be meeting at the White House with President Trump on Monday. That's another source of pressure in all of this, because President Trump has been clear he wants a deal done. He wants a ceasefire. He wants to start to get onto a track that leads to the ending of the war in hopes of getting to his broader vision, which is Abraham Accords 2.0, normalizing relations with Israel around the region here. That can't happen until the situation in Gaza is sorted first. So the Prime Minister is going to be dealing with pressure on multiple fronts here as he heads into that meeting Monday. Kelly?
Yeah, certainly multifaceted. You know, Robert, I'm curious about the impacts that this humanitarian situation in Gaza might be having on the talks.
Well, that's another source of pressure that is certainly going to be on all of this here, Kelly, as, of course, the international community has been outspoken that they don't like the images that are coming out of Gaza. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is the U.S.-backed aid group, has also been outspoken, saying that they believe the food crisis and the humanitarian crisis is real in Gaza. But there are also dangers that are on the ground in Gaza every day. And the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation saying today that 2 American aid workers were injured by a Hamas attack at one of those aid distribution sites. We spoke to the chairman of that group this week, who said that the dangers are rather ever present inside of the enclave. This is what he had to say. Take a listen.
That not only had Hamas put bounties on the local aid workers, but actually the Americans. You know, so Hamas has put a bounty on the Americans that are there, you know, serving people. And it should not be the case that this is a profession where there's a bounty on your head for giving free food to people who desperately need it, because the food security is real in Gaza.
That is an element that is on the ground in Gaza, is that whoever controls aid distribution in many cases holds power here. It's been long documented that Hamas has at times seized some of these aid shipments in the past in order to take over distribution there. And as a result here, what the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is saying today, 2 American aid workers injured as a result of all of this here. Kelly?
Yeah, difficult task getting that aid where it's most needed. Robert Sherman live for us in Tel Aviv. Robert, as always, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.